Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Chris, and welcome for the final time to Recaps and Predictions, the Survivor podcast with my good friend Gocubs 711.
Are you going to pick those penne noodles out of the boiling water one by one like a man, or are you going to use a strainer like some kind of Democrat?
What the fuck? What? Where is that from?
It's a post I found somewhere.
Oh, alright. Alright. Well, there you go. Welcome back, everyone, to the Survivor Game Changers podcast. And while things are not really changing much, this is the last of our recaps of predictions podcast before this, as well as all of our other football and sports reality show and probably some video game related podcasts will move all into MMG podcast. So last time you'll see these visuals at least. Um, but anyhow, let's get into the finale of the Survivor Game Changer season in what
It's a
has
very good
been
season.
a very good season to this point. We're gonna start out with the post tribal of the Suri kind of fumble on her part when she tried to play Sarah's steal a vote advantage and ended up getting Michaela eliminated. And the explanation that we actually got was something that I figured out the day or two afterwards because it took me a while to really understand it. But
Yeah,
essentially, Sarah was basically like she felt betrayed by Suri, and she felt like the best thing to do was to get out Suri's ally in Michaela. And that kind of made a lot of sense. At the same time, I didn't know why she wouldn't just go for Suri, but I think that was just because the other ones were voting for Michaela, and she knew that, so she was like, "All right, well, I'll just do that. I'll vote for Michaela, so that way
yeah.
it's guaranteed that she goes home." So that to me made a lot more sense than anything else that I could think of at the moment. But pretty interesting. It ends up leading to we're back at camp, and Sarah just straight up confronts Suri. Why did you try to use it? That was my advantage. And Suri was like, I was trying to help you out. But it was not. Ultimately, it just did not go over well for the two of them. But then when everyone was sitting around the campfire, Sarah kind of brought it up, like, okay, who was, or she went to Ty because Ty, Suri told Sarah that Ty kind of was dropping Sarah's name, and so Sarah was trying to confront Ty, try to get him to say that he indeed said that he wanted to get Sarah out at one point, and Ty, after some reluctancy, admitted it, and it obviously was just not pretty for him, and it was not pretty overall for his game. And so Sarah then apologized to Sari, saying, I apologize. You were right in this instance, and Ty was wrong." So then Ty basically was ousted in that scenario. Um, so then I think it goes right into the first of our three immunity challenges that we are going to have tonight. What happened in the first immunity challenge, Go Cubs?
So the first immunity challenge, the contestants are greeted with a giant maze and are told that they'll have to travel through it to grab three total bags containing puzzle pieces for a compass. Very similar to the compass from, I believe it was last week.
Uh,
Uh,
yes.
yeah,
You mean last season?
no, last week.
Was there one last week?
Well, there was a compass,
Oh,
it just looked like the same compass. This like puzzle itself, I think, has been done before.
yeah.
But yeah, there were like two sides to the maze, so it really wasn't as big as it looked. The three people took to a side, got their pieces. It was pretty neck and neck for a while, but then a couple people just started really pulling ahead and getting their shit together with the puzzle, and Brad ended up winning.
Yeah, Brad won. he ends up picking Troyzan and Sarah to go with him on a reward. What was the reward?
Chicken parmesan.
Yeah, yeah,
I
nice.
would I would want to win the challenge just for the chicken parmesan.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't care about saving my ass. I would just want the chicken parmesan.
Chicken
Um,
parmesan is one of my favorite meals.
all right. I got my my list of things to talk about with the Survivor backup. I had it down because I was updating my phone. Whoops. But it's back. And I did forget something. Prior to the immunity challenge, that was the first conversation between Brad and Ty. Ty kind of needs an ally at this point, and so he kind of goes to Brad. Um, and Brad was basically in the confessional was just like, I will work with him for now, but the minute I get a chance, I'm basically gonna try to stab him in the back, because he has turned on me and others many times.
Yeah.
So that was prior to. So then, once the reward comes around, and then we have them all sitting around, Sarah's kind of like she doesn't really know who to go to. She kind of is a lone wolf at the moment. So now that she's at this reward, she has to talk to both Brad and Troyzan, and she basically tells them, okay, so what do you guys want to do? She just tries to just squeeze herself in there, and hopefully, uh, you know, uh, Brad Troyzan would be willing to talk to her, and it's not like they were. They said to her that they're going to vote Aubrey out, which was exactly the plan that they were trying to do for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so uh, so basically that those three kind of became an alliance at that point. It wasn't really explicit or anything, but it was just kind of like a makeshift. Like, yeah, this is what we think could be like a Final Three alliance right here.
Mm.
So then we get back to Brad and Ty, and Ty officially tells Brad, "Hi, I have two idols, and I just want you to know that because I want you to trust me." So what Brad does is says, "I want you to use one of your idols tonight, and I want you to give the other one to me in order for me to trust you." And I guess you could say the behavior in which Ty was going about, or the way that Brad was going about trying to get Ty to do it was kind of aggressive.
It was very aggressive.
Yeah, not really like he definitely was not trying to gain on Ty's good side or anything like that. He just wanted to be like, you screwed me over way too many times, or I can't trust you enough, so you better give me this, or you're done. It essentially was the attitude he was giving off, and this did not rub Ty the right way. So he ended up going to Aubrey, talking to her about how Brad was just kind of being a bully to him. And then all of a sudden, Sri comes over and says, um, let's tonight try to get rid of, since Brad can't be voted out, to get rid of either Sarah or Troyzan. And Sri doesn't think that Ty is going to trust her anymore. But she's just going to give it a try, just a leap of fate, essentially. So then we get to the tribal council, and there's not really anything too surprising or anything big that happens in the conversations. Ty just kind of, I think maybe the one significant thing was just Ty was just trying to explain to everyone that this I can be trusted. I feel like I'm at the bottom right now, and Brad was kind of being like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
At that council. So we get to the vote, and before the vote begins, Ty gets up and he has his two idols.
Before the votes are read.
Before the votes are read, right?
Yeah.
Ty gets up. He hands in the idol, and he says that he's going to save himself. He hands a second idol over, and says that he's going to save Aubrey.
Mm-hmm.
Which, so that right away shows that Ty is not going to be listening to Brad's plan, and both idols are now used to save both himself and Aubrey. And then Sarah gets up, and she uses her legacy advantage, which only could have been used at this point at this tribal, and so she hands it in, and so she's safe. And then Troyzan gets up because he has an idol too, and he saves himself. So do the
And
math.
Brad has an immunity necklace.
Right. So do the math. Brad can't be voted out. Troyzan can't be voted out. Sarah cannot be voted out. Aubrey can't be voted out. And neither can Ty. Who's left?
Suri.
And that means that Suri is the first one in the history of Survivor to be voted out without a single vote being read.
Without even a single vote being cast for her.
That's another one. I mean, I think it's both, and then you have the most immunity, most
Idols played at one tribal council.
Most idols played at one tribal council. Yeah, it was a surreal moment.
Most people immune in one tribal council.
Most people immune in one tribal council. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. But yeah, essentially. So, Serene, I mean, she has this moment where Jeff kind of does like this like small interview with her, and she, she broke a record while she was on this island. I believe that she is now has played the most days of Survivor, more than anyone else. Am I correct?
No, she has the second most.
Second most, but that's probably behind Sandra, right?
Behind Ozzy.
Oh, behind Ozzy. Oh,
Sandra's only played like 2 1/4 seasons.
That's true. I thought that. Oh, okay. So yeah. So Ozzy played more than Sandra.
They said that at the final tribal council.
Right. No, I know that. I thought that the way that he phrased it, I thought he said that Ozzy was behind Suri by like one day.
No, behind him, Suri.
Right.
What Jeff said.
Right. All right. So, anyways, still a great achievement for someone who hadn't won the game but has always been a huge social threat. And she has played the game very well without ever winning any challenges for the most part. And, just kind of using what she had at her disposal as someone who could make allies. She will go down as one of the biggest Survivor legends of all time, that to have never won a season. So people give her a round of applause, and it was quite the way to go out. And she said, and it was a little bit of reminded me of like a retirement thing, because they were saying like this probably is gonna be your last, or they didn't say it, but like if this is your last time playing Survivor, what are the memories that you take away from it? And I honestly forget what she said, but it was still a very touching moment in general, because a lot of people were applauding her at the tribal, both the jury and the people that were remaining. So it was a good moment, but at the same time bittersweet because she was voted out, or not really, singled out, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
She is no longer in the game though.
Yeah, exactly. So now we are down to 5. We get to the next immunity challenge.
So the next immunity challenge is it has been done before, and the last time it was done, someone had essentially an advantage where they got to practice the whole challenge before actually showing up.
Yeah,
Fun fact.
Yeah, that was the fob. That was like the guy in the camo, right? I forget his name.
I don't remember who that was.
The mustache guy. He was a dad.
Was that Keith?
Keith, there you go.
Was it Keith?
It was Keith.
Oh, okay.
I'm almost certain it was, at least.
Okay.
It was either that or it was Matt or I don't know. Go ahead. Keep going.
Whatever. So basically, what the challenge was is that you had to transport a ball through like a mini obstacle course using paddles, and if it dropped it anywhere along the way, you had to start over. First to get 3 balls done, won. And Brad kind of just smoked everyone.
Yeah. Once again, a dominating effort by Brad. This one especially emotional since he was crying afterwards, basically saying this was for Monica. # Brad has a wife. Um, I'm just kidding. Um, but yeah, so he was pretty emotional, but then he got back to camp and he was ready to lead. He said it's the easiest vote in the world. We're voting out Aubrey, and so Brad, Troy, and Sarah pretty much agree on that. But then Sarah is brought into the fold with Aubrey and Ty, and the three of them discuss maybe it'd be best to get rid of Troyzan because that's an ally of Brad's. He gets taken out, and then Brad's basically all alone. Um, but then after Aubrey leaves, Ty and Sarah kind of talk, and they feel like at this time it's probably just best to get rid of Aubrey.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have Brad and Ty in the hammock, and once again, Brad is kind of talking kind of coldly to Ty, kind of be like, "Do you understand what I'm talking about? Like, do you understand, that we have to vote Aubrey out, or do you have to, or that I'm gonna be controlling every single vote that you make from now on, essentially." And it was kind of an aggressive moment, and Ty didn't really enjoy that. And then Ty met back with Sarah, and they're like, "Well, maybe we should get rid of Troyzan, so that way it hurts Brad in that sense."
Brad more.
So then we get to the tribal council, and nothing too significant, but the one thing I will note is that Troyzan was getting very cocky. Would you like to talk about this, Gocubs?
So Jeff basically like brought up and asked like, "Hey, do you feel that like that someone else is in the game that you think that you can't beat?" And everyone else said, "Yes, there's someone currently still in the game that I think I would lose to in the finals, except for Troyzan. Troyzan being the one person out of everyone who is not going to win this game at this point."
He felt pretty certain that no matter what happens, that he was, if he made the final three, he was a surefire win away, like just a debate away from winning the whole thing. So not really kind of surprising moment there.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Ty and Sarah decide that it is best for their game right now to get rid of Aubrey, and Aubrey is voted out 4-1. And then that brings us to the final immunity challenge, the biggest of the season. What do you got, Gocubs?
So they had to grab a key, make their way through an obstacle course, unlock a bag of puzzle pieces, throw those puzzle pieces down, run up a giant building to grab a new set of keys, slide down a water slide, go through the obstacle course, wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah, definitely. And then
the Sarah and Troyzan, I believe, actually got out to a pretty early lead, which Troyzan very quickly lost, and Sarah kind of fell out of it too. Brad ended up, I think, being one of the first ones to get his puzzle started. I think Sarah got her puzzle started first, but Brad was able to come up from behind and basically won his way into the final three.
Yep, he broke a record too.
He tied a record,
or tied a record rather.
Yeah, tied a record with a few others, I believe, including Mike and Ozzy. I'm gonna look up right now who everyone was.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely Ozzy because that was confirmed during the final tribal council.
Yeah.
Not too sure about. I mean, it would make sense if it was Michael. I thought Michael won like 6.
I think Michael won 5.
Yeah, he was down the stretch. He was just dominating.
Okay.
Yeah. While you do that, I'll just go into the afterwards.
Yeah. Go on.
I actually wrote down because I was a little salty about Brad winning again, because of, I don't know, I was not a fan of his behavior towards Ty. So as I was writing this, I wrote Brad wins it again, becoming the New England Patriots of players.
Okay, but he had to win those in order to stay alive.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm not saying. I was just salty. I'm just there is no reason for me to be salty otherwise. To for him not to have done that.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, so then Brad once again was kind of basically saying that like I control who comes back or comes to the final three with me. This is the greatest feeling. This is awesome. Um, and so then Sarah and Ty were debating maybe if they both voted for Troyzan, they could force a fire making challenge, which would have been fun to see a good battle between Ty and Troyzan. But unfortunately, Sarah decided not to do so.
All right,
Sarah,
I had the list.
yeah. Well, I'll just finish up here. That Sarah decided
Sorry.
it's okay. Sarah decided to go with Brad and Troyzan and vote out Ty, 3-1. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So the six there are six players who have won 5 immunity necklaces,
Okay.
individual immunity. Colby Donaldson from the Australian Outback, Tom Westman from Palau,
Okay.
Terry Dietz from Panama, Ozzy Luce in Cook Islands, and Mike Holloway in Worlds Apart.
So Mike Holloway was one of them.
And now Brad Culpepper in
Survivor
Game Changer.
Game Changers. Yeah. How many of those went on to win? They all.
Oh, okay. So Terry didn't win. Ozzy didn't win. Mike won. Colby didn't win. Let me check. Tom. Tom did win.
They win. So
So 2 winners.
2 winners out of that group. Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So yeah. I mean that to me to win 5 immunities, you almost seem guaranteed a lock at least to make it to final three, and that's at least what Brad
They
did.
all made it to at least final 3.
Yeah. So there you go. We then get to the final tribal council. And I'll let you take over for some of this part because we're gonna have a little bit of a discussion before we actually reveal the winner because I think there's a lot to talk about here. But go ahead and talk a little bit about the new format.
So they did change the format, and I think that with how well it went, in my opinion at least, they're going to continue doing that. Instead of one jury member after another, like going up and like saying what they want to say to the contestants, it's more of an open discussion, and the jury members can bounce stuff off each other, ask the contestants specific questions, and just like have more of a response than just like one after another, like, okay, this is what I have to say. It was a lot more engaging. I think it showed the highlights of the 2 individuals games, and I say 2 individuals even though there was a final 3, really well. And Troyzan was just kind of there.
um, I loved it because it I mean I think it was a better version. Like before this, I felt like the Big Brother jury deliberation when they showed that on TV was a little bit better. Probably I didn't never really trusted everything that I heard from there, from that jury deliberation, but I felt like it was just I think it was better with the conversation. Survivor just completely surpassed that now. I think that was really great TV and fun to watch because it was fun looking at where their minds were really at outside of just giving their speeches. Like they had like this conversation, they had the flow of thought, and you had these people arguing for certain finalists, and it was really a fantastic part of it all. And what would you say is what was your like the significant thing that you probably took out of that final discussion?
Uh, I would say that, well, one, I thought that way too many people were like hurt over the fact that Sarah voted them out.
Yeah, I especially with
But,
Debbie. Like Debbie was like, "Oh, I have absolutely no respect for you." I'm just like, "Ugh,
yeah.
really?"
Well, Debbie doesn't. have smart opinions. uh, but like Andrea too, she was like, I feel so dirty. It's like, well, just fucking respect her game. Like,
Well, yeah,
uh,
that was a little questionable too because I was like, Andrea kind of played a dirty game too.
yeah,
I mean, I think they all did in a
it
way.
just like Sarah just happened to like strike you first.
Right, exactly, and like I don't know. I think well, I didn't even notice the whole season. What they talked about, Zeke was the first one to talk. He did. I completely didn't remember this. Apparently, Zeke gave Sarah his jacket, and she's been wearing it the whole season. Every
Yeah,
single
that too.
time that she went to tribal council, I was just like, "Oh, whoa!" I had no idea, but I don't think that he would have said that in the speech. I mean, he might have, but I feel like that was really a fun moment to like, "Whoa, wait a minute, that's not her jacket."
Yeah,
Like that was awesome. Um, and yeah, so it was Zeke that was really I think it was Zeke and Michaela I would say were really trying to argue on Sarah's behalf, where it was Debbie and Ozzy that were trying to trying to argue that Brad was the better fit.
right.
What do you think? I know that you chose Brad earlier, like a little earlier in the season for your
Yeah.
winner. What do you feel like was his strongest move, and like what do you think
Well,
what
his
could would have
strongest
been?
move was honestly, well, it was two things. One was saving his ass, or saving his tribe's ass in the joint tribal council earlier in the season.
Right, with the
Uh,
yeah, that was when he JT whispered to him
yeah, uh,
who they were voting
that,
for.
that like that was their plan, and him like being able to like capitalize on that and like make that decision. I think that was important at least.
Yeah,
Uh, and then being able to like one like reach the five immunity necklace club. Uh, that seems like kind of stupid, but like that's an important part. That was an important part of his game, and that's what allowed him to get to the end. He put himself in power at the end, as opposed to being on the bottom like he was very recently.
absolutely, and I think the game that he played, you know, I think outside of maybe like the last few, like the last maybe hour or two of the show where he kind of was portrayed badly or was portraying himself badly, I think that he really played a great game, and played a fair game throughout the whole show, and I mean, I think you look at what he achieved. I think was so. I didn't expect it out of him, and
He, yeah,
he proved us
he
wrong.
he also didn't really betray any of his alliances. He was very
Loyal.
uh, he was very loyal to everyone and like voted how he said he was going to vote. So I compared to when he first played, this was a very welcome change to see, and I really enjoyed Brad this season.
Yeah, and yeah, and as for Sarah, uh, I think the one point that I was because I don't know, like when I was listening I was like, man, I think Brad has this. I think that he has a better resume, but then they did bring up a good point with Sarah in that she was involved in every single vote this year. I don't think there was one vote where she was really blindsided at all. uh
No,
she was able to take any situation that she was in and turn it into a positive, um, even if it seemed like all was lost. And the many people did not target her because they didn't think that she was behind a lot of it or anything like that. But she was, and she did. I think that she played one hell of a game to that point. And the she was a floater in a lot of ways because she went to many different alliances, and she was aligned with many different people, and backstab people, and that's where I guess where people were like, oh, you went too far, or you play with people's emotions and all that. But I think that's the surefire way to play the game because you can't. It's hard to do what Brad did and stick with one alliance, especially if it's a sinking ship. But she took that and used it to her advantage and was able to like just to wiggle in with anyone and make sure that people trusted her, were on her side. She was the middleman in a lot of situations where she was the deciding vote in a lot of factors as well. So this, I think, all ended up. I think it was a very very close match.
I had like I like to know, or I like to think that I know like enough about Survivor to like predict the winner at that point. But I legitimately had no idea who was going to win between the two.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a very close between them, and I think both of them had a solid resume to win it all, no matter what. Um, as for Troyzan, he he got like one line of like questioning from people, which and it was the expected questioning, like what the fuck did you do to get here?
Right.
Um,
And then he
and
didn't really answer it.
yeah, like
Well,
he was saying that like he put himself in the situation, a good enough situation, so that way he could be, uh, like he could be brought to the end, and so it was just like, oh, okay, so you then got carried. He's like, no, no, not really, and it was just like, I
yeah,
mean,
you got carried.
you got carried. That was essentially what the case ended up being. Um, but yeah, I think it was. I agree though. I think it was a fun conversation. I loved the back and forth between all of them, and then we finally got to the vote. Um, and then we saw Zeke vote for Sarah. We saw Ozzy vote for Brad. Forget who the other one they said voted for Sarah, or who they showed.
Michaela voted for Sarah. Debbie voted for Brad.
Yeah, okay. So it was so then yeah, so it showed you at least at the very least it was going to be like an 8-2 vote or yeah, an 8-2 vote.
Yeah.
Um so Jeff grabs the votes, they head out, and we arrive at the live reunion show. And he places the votes down. He says what a great season was. Yeah. We get to the votes, and it was one vote Sarah, one vote Brad, one vote Sarah, one vote Brad, one vote Brad, one vote Sarah, and the rest of the votes, and the winner of Survivor Game Changers was
Sarah.
Sarah.
Congrats to you, sir.
I didn't even think about that until afterwards. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, all right. I feel like this is the first time in a while that I picked someone to win at some point, and they actually won. It's been a while for me, but
Has it?
I feel like it has. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, hold on. Let's try to figure this out. Last Survivor season, we didn't really do anything for.
Yeah, we blew it.
Yeah, we blew it.
We blew it.
Before then, you technically hadn't. No, I technically had Nicole. You had Paul.
Yeah.
Paul should have won though.
Paul should have won. Damn it.
Before that, we both fucked up because that was when Michelle beat Aubrey and Ty.
Yep.
Before that was that Second Chances?
I think.
I think so. So you got Second Chances.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You had Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, it get like yeah.
And then I had Steve before that in Big Brother.
Yeah, it's been over a year since I won one, so I mean I guess that has been a while. All right, so there you go. I'm a wiener for once. Wiener. All right, so now we're not done with the recap because we do want to bring up some stuff about the reunion as well. First of all, we had Brad and Ty hug it out. Brad, I think, which was really funny. He was like, I really needed a Snickers while I was on the island because I love this guy," and he like picked up and hugged Ty because that I thought that was a good moment because he acknowledges that he was kind of overly aggressive at that moment. But it was a funny line though by him. Then Jeff brought up the speculation of if he did not bring Sarah, because technically if Brad and Troyzan voted out Sarah, then she would have gone home with the two votes.
She would have been on the jury. instead
Uh,
of Ty.
and so it would have been Ty, Troyzan, and Brad. And so what would have happened is that so Jeff asked them to raise the hand they would have voted for Ty, and there was at least
It was
five
five and
people.
five,
Yeah, it was 5-5.
and
Uh,
then Troy, and then I Troyzan voted even though he was in the final three. That scenario.
no, well, yeah, right. But what ended up happening was that they said that okay, so if it's a tie, what and that has never happened in the history of Survivor, that the remaining final three member that did not get at the amount of votes to be part of that tie would be the sole vote to pick the winner, which would have been Troyzan. And I mean, look at that. Troyzan would have been relevant in the Survivor
Yeah.
season for one time.
Troyzan did something.
And he would have probably picked Brad, and
Yeah,
so Brad screwed up then. Brad
yeah,
would have what,
definitely.
and it's funny. I actually rewinded that back and looked at some of the people. Ozzy actually would have voted for Ty to win,
Oh, wow.
which I was like, okay, so that's a flip.
Yeah.
I don't know
and
why.
and and you never know because like they're like they right then they voted as if like in their they were trying to be in their mindset at the finals
Yeah,
like that like they could have thought completely different when they were physically at the final tribal council.
yeah. I think more
That was
probably
just
would have
theoretical.
probably more would have voted for Brad. I think. I don't think we would have saw
Yeah.
Ty at that point.
Yeah, because well at that point Brad could have also said what he did better than Ty.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it wasn't just like the concept of is it Brad or Ty.
Yeah, I think yeah, there's a lot of different factors in there. But
Uh,
I think ultimately if he did bring Ty, I don't think that he
it
would
was
have lost.
it was also really funny with when Jeff was first posing the question because Brad was very clearly trying to avoid it.
Well,
He kept trying to deflect it. He's like, Jeff, I know I fucked up. Shut up.
yeah, no, yeah, he was just like, oh, yeah, you miscalculated clearly. But yeah, and so unfortunately, Brad has to kind of live with that for a little bit. Does second place get a prize at all?
I believe so.
All right, well, he'll be good. He'll be good.
Yeah,
He said that he didn't really need the money anyway. Um, all
he
right,
just wanted the title.
yeah, right. Um, all right. So then we did have a segment in which Zeke talked about his life, where he's at, how he's now doing a lot of writing. He works for GLAAD. He works for the Hollywood Reporter. Um, so a lot. He's really been involved in the community. And Jeff Varner also gave his update. Gave an update where he's at. He was fired after uh, outing Zeke, but he found a new job, and he thinks that as time went on, people uh, saw that he was apologetic, and he learned from his mistake, and so they were willing to give him a second chance. One of the
Which is
Go ahead.
which is fair. I also appreciate when Varner said, "Hey, this
You okay?
focuses Zeke."
Oh, can you repeat that because you cut out for a second?
Oh yeah. Varner was being like when he like started uh he was like, "Hey, this isn't on me. This story isn't like focused on me. This is focused on Zeke. Like I don't want to like try to draw attention away from this."
Right, right, yeah, and I think the way he handled it at the finale was good. I think I could have appreciated less cameras on Varner during when Zeke was talking, because I think that the whole point when Zeke was talking about his life is that he kind of wanted to forget about how we found out about him being
Yeah.
transgender. But I did like hearing from Jeff and hearing that things are better in his life as well. Because that obviously when you do something like that, you have to pay the consequences, and there was a huge online and global reaction
Yeah.
to what he said. So he hopefully has learned his lesson. It sounds like he did. And one of the craziest and I guess heartwarming / devastating moments of the season, I would say,
Yeah.
on a lot of different levels. And there was a lot of really fantastic moments, including maybe one of the best tribal councils ever, which we were just talking about. Was when Brad got Ty to use the isle on Sierra, and then
Right.
got Malcolm got voted out.
The one other thing I wanted to say was Jeff Probst made the comment about how like people kept asking him if the episode with Zeke being outed was scripted because earlier the metamorphosis thing was played in the puzzle, and Jeff just seemed like really really pissed. He was like, "No, it's not scripted.
No, yeah, well,
No, it isn't scripted."
the thing about, well, I think it was just because Zeke is just very pays very attention to the details. That he just chose. He saw that word was probably still in his mind from the immunity challenge, so that's probably where he got it from. I think there was a little bit of an irony there, but I kind of assumed that Zeke has done that before. Zeke is just very intelligent to remember that and then use that in this situation. Some little things as well. We had Aubrey talk a little bit about her crush on Cochran. We had Sandra talk about how hard it is to play the game a little bit. Jeff praised Michaela, saying that she's like one of his favorite tribal castaway members, I guess. And then lastly, Ozzy got political, I would say.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He
was not expecting that.
He was, he said Jeff was merely just asking him about, where, how the new jury format worked, and if he enjoyed that. And Ozzy was just like, well, yeah, I really liked it. I hope that us, as not just going beyond Survivor, that us as Americans could have a similar discussion, and because we need to, I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially he was saying that we need to, as Americans, need to have a similar discourse in order to fix our fucking country. So he was
specifically who's leading our country.
Yeah, that was pretty. I was not expecting that out of Ozzy, but it was it was very fun. And then last but not least, Survivor is gonna have another season, and I think it's entering what it's 30-something season now. Fucking I don't.
It'll be 35 in the fall.
35. All right.
Yeah, this was just 34.
Yeah, there you go. So 35th season. What is next season?
So next season is based around. It's a really convoluted explanation, I think, but it's based around the positive traits of a person. So the three groups are heroes, healers, and hustlers. Heroes being people who are really brave, like Marines, who put themselves forward to try to save other people, essentially. Healers are a group that they're more on like making people and the others around them better. And hustlers are basically they're clever or cunning, or they do what they can to like get their way.
Yeah, I think that I made it. When me and Gocubs were texting each other with this, I was like, I get that it had to be an alliteration, but hustler just seems like a weird word to in terms of a positive trait, because I never really thought of hustler as being a positive thing. I thought that like when people say, "Oh, you're a hustler," that means like you're trying to
there's like a positive connotation with it too, I guess.
Yeah, I just never heard it before, but hey, you gotta go with the alliteration. You gotta make it sound good.
So we got the heroes, healers, hustlers, and red collar.
Right. We just throw in like millennials. Like you just throw in like another tribe. Right. Beauty. Wait, what? But yeah, so that is. Imagine if they did a 4-tribe season. That'd be fucked. That'd be insane.
They did do that once.
Did they?
Yeah, it was like it was in my like one of my really early seasons that I watched. I don't even remember it. But it was like younger men, younger women, older women. And then there was another time where there was like a really big complaint like early on about like how the races represented on Survivor were really disproportionate. So it was literally like white people, black people, Asian people, Hispanic people. Those were the four tribes.
Oh, so it was like for over 2 seasons.
Yeah, those different seasons.
Okay. All right. I would love to see it again for during this era because I think it'd probably be hard to cover it all, but I think it would be fun. But anyways, I'm excited about this season. Um,
This season was one of my favorites. I'm right now. I'm still kind of in like post finale,
Hype.
uh, like glow. I guess I don't know,
Yeah.
but I really enjoyed it. I think the right person won. I think that some very game changing things happened, uh, and the people that we expected to do really well did not do well, and the people we thought were gonna like get axed immediately ended up making it to the end. So
Right. Yeah. That was the surreal part. Because earlier in the season, we both got fucked up by the first two votes in the
well,
same
yeah,
episode. So that was a clear indication where where the season was gonna end up with us. But
uh,
I would say I think that you don't have to. I know that Kagayan is considered your favorite season, but don't worry. You could cheat on that season with game changes because Sarah was from Kagayan.
I know.
So you can be like, I mean, she's from my one of my favorite seasons, but my favorite season was Game Changers.
No,
Uh,
my favorite season is Game Changers now.
you say for sure it is Game
Yeah,
Changers.
I kind of have to. That was it. There was just a lot of really good stuff. It didn't end in bullshit like the last Brains Brown Beauty did.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
yeah. There you go. Yeah, I mean, you want to have that feel good ending to that because like last season's Big Brother was pretty good, but then
but then it was like, why did Nicole win?
yeah, you don't understand. All in all, it was interesting. And big
Also, apparently, for about a week, like after Big Brother happened, if you typed "why did N" into Google search, the first result was "why did Nicole win Big Brother?"
There you go. I mean, it's just it's very clear why who should have won that season. But
Yeah, I'm
there you
excited
go.
for Big Brother though.
Yeah, Big Brother. Yeah, so Big Brother is gonna be premiering June 28th. So it's a little bit later this year. But that probably means that there won't be some bullshit. At least I hope not. They usually pull that. It's either the first episode they either announce that it's going to be Battle of the Block or it's going to be someone's going to be eliminated in like the first 10 hours of the show.
Yeah,
And let's hope neither of that happens. I'm hoping that's not the case. We get to learn about
right.
these people. All right. So that's pretty much it. And from here on out, we're going to be doing MMG podcasts, which will consist of many different topics, but mainly will be consistent of the Survivor and Big Brother, recaps, predictions. It would be probably a similar format unless we think of something better to do. Or just a general. I think we could just do just a general discussion, even that we don't have to recap the whole thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very looking forward to the Big Brother. I think the next podcast you'll hear us from will be I want to do an E3 preview. Honestly,
Sure.
if you're down for it. I mean, I think
I think a preview. I don't know if I would. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we could do a preview or a recap, whatever we want to do. I'm down for it. But yeah, with that all being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching and supporting recaps and predictions all this year. If there's anyone out there, I look forward to more of MMG podcasts because I'm having a lot of fun with that as well. So be good to one another, be kind to one another. Gocubs, is there last thing that you would like to say?
Not really. Just enjoy watching what you like, even if it's 34 seasons in.
There you go.
and barely changing.
Or has a terrible audience.
Either one.
All right. See you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.